The opinions expressed in the following podcast are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security or investment product. It is only intended to provide education and entertainment about the financial industry and the stock market. Enjoy.
On this episode of Pennies Going In Raw, we welcome back the king of dad memes, Doug Boneparth. You find out life's this game of pennies.
Oh, you guys know we only have a 40% runner. Hello, 40% is a fucking killing.
We've been compliant for too long. It's time we go to war.
I don't have a Roth.
Hugh knows so much about the market that his brain doesn't have enough room for grammar.
Hey, who told me about IDEX? It's going up a shit ton now.
Rob, 4%, baby. No way. 4 fucking percent.
You asked the exact same question with 2 words different.
It's like, man, I just got dick whipped for like 20%, and now that f***er's up like 50.
I bet Warren Buffett never did that.
I'm just making this voice memo to call out unusual whales to a fight. The pennies we need are everywhere around us. Pennies.
Going in raw.
Featuring Dan, Deity Dips,
And Hugh, honey.
Produced by Vinny.
And Christian.
Let's go, baby.
Hey guys, we are on a break right now. We are, traveling or in Reno. We will be back around the 9th of September. However, we still recorded a podcast for you. Make sure to like us and give us a 5-star rating on Apple. Enjoy. Welcome back to another episode of Pennies Going In Raw. Today is whatever day we drop it, and we have on Doug Boneparth. How are you?
Hey guys, great to be back.
Dude, it's been a while, I feel like.
It's been a little while. There's now double the amount of episodes of PGIR, I think.
Wow, has it been that long?
I think so. I was in the...
Yeah, you were on episode 26.5, the king of 0.5s. And this is going to be in the 50s, so...
That's insane.
First off, congrats to you guys on the iHeartRadio deal. Massive. Can you believe it?
It's awesome, and I wanted to congratulate you on being on Pennies Going In Raw. I mean, that's huge. that's huge for you, Doug.
Massive. People won't stop talking about it.
It's funny because I think we've hinted at the iHeart deal. Well, actually, we're not shocked at the iHeart deal. We're shocked that we kept it a secret. We probably posted it 4 different times. Like someone commented, didn't I see this in February? I was like, yeah. Like you saw it in February. You're just re-saying it.
Yeah.
It took forever, but
Yeah, and I'm not a good secret keeper, man. I'm really bad.
Yeah, I know. When I went I meant you.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. I always say, my mom always knows her Mother's Day gift within a week and a half of Mother's Day being around. So.
I'll tell you this. If there's anything I've learned about being in wealth management for 17, 18 years, all the biggest deals, all the really important ones that move the meter or were meter or were changing, my life or anything like that, those big ones always took time. They always went 10 times slower than I would want them to be. And because they're big deals, you want them to move fast, but they never do. And you guys will just have more and more of this. So, you got to be patient on that. And I'm glad Dan didn't ruin it for everyone. Okay. Well, I mean,
we'll just hop right in, Doug. We'll hop right in where you left off. Bitcoin, you have your story of you mined all this Bitcoin. Are you like a billionaire now? How is that? Like, what's being a crypto billionaire like?
It's not as glamorous as you think. People are asking you for your Satoshis all the time. No, billionaire. No, it's what a ride, guys. I mean, when we were talking, we must have hit up to 65,000. I'm trying to get the timeline.
Yeah, we were quickly climbing. I mean, we had even talked that there's a potential for 100. Like, that's how strong Bitcoin was.
Right. It was running. Yeah. And now here we are in crypto winter, But is it really? I mean, it's kind of kind of insane to go from the 20,000 peak back in 2017 to, now we're resting around 40,000. It's really struggling to break through that 40K resistance. Tried to do it a couple times. Again, I haven't touched it. I've made little additions along the way, some little nibbling here and there, but it's hard to really add to the position, that original position. Yeah, because it's so big. You can, there's just not enough free cash. No, I mean, look, it's really goal oriented, trying to, I don't know if this is our forever home. We got goals along those lines, just saving up for that and putting the kids through college and
just waiting for a realtor to accept Bitcoin, right?
That's right. No, I'm not giving this. I'm not giving it away ever. It's just going to stay right where it is. It's a crazy ride. I mean, and if you've been holding on since 2014, I don't really think any price action at this point is going to make me, I think any price action down is not going to make me move. Only up. It'd get to a point where I'd probably relinquish something.
Yeah. Do you have a strategy, like an exit plan, or is it just kind of like, meh, like if it hits like the 100K mark, I'll take half off. Is that kind of like the plan, or is it just kind of, we'll save?
Close. We, my wife and I had to think about, at what price point would we, want to sell maybe 1 or 2 Bitcoins, and what we would put that for. So we have a number in mind. If it hits, it's just an automatic sell. It's not everything. And that would really kind of put us in a nice position for some of the things that we want to do. So there is a plan in place. We're not there. And we'll see. I'm still kind of waiting for, the Bitcoin ETF to show up. I think I'm more focused on Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in the context of my practice and how we're going to be able, as a smaller RIA, who would have thought $100 million in assets is small, but that's microscopic compared to, wealth managers out there with multiple billions of dollars. So it's been a challenge. We're still looking for that way to practically integrate, doing this for our clients. Right now, it's just hey, let's educate them and show them, how they can do this on their own and get their knowledge up. It's frustrating not to be able to be like, great, let's put this in the portfolio.
Well, I do. It's funny that you mentioned that, because it was something that we did want to touch on. But our friends, Breathe Carolina, we love them, and we had a conversation about their business, and I always think it's funny. So you touched on it. 100 million is a lot. But as you said, there's people that you take Soros, Simon. They closed down their doors in the 90s. Imagine they would be at the trillions AUM. So if you could, would you want to be bigger? Would you want to get into the Bs, or is it one of those things where tell me?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. One Heather asks me all the time, where does the ambition lie? Where does it stop? I right now don't think it scales itself up to $1 billion. I think I could go double, triple, maybe quadruple, $500 million, because what I then start to do is think about how many people it takes to get there, what kind of footprint I need, the resources, and most importantly, how much of my time is going to go into this. I got 2 daughters. I love going to all of their stuff. Any major CEO or anyone, being the real deal boss here is making some big sacrifice to the time and things that they get to do in their life. And I don't know, there's something about the lifestyle practice. And to be fully honest, it's an internal conflict with me. I've yet to hit the switch that says, you know what, we'll get as much daycare as possible. We'll fill in, Dad Doug here so he can go grow this business all the way. I'm not willing to do that at the moment. And it's, at the same time, as comfortable as this spot is, I also don't want to rest on my laurels, right? You don't want to get caught up in that, not at 36. So I could see a couple advisors, in the grand scheme of things, I could see a couple advisors, 2 staff per advisor, and maybe some other things here. That's big. Right now it's a firm of 3. What if it was 12? Gives me goosebumps to think about. I'm going to be somewhat responsible for the professional lives of 11 people.
Yeah. Well, you did just hire someone, right? And it wasn't us. I don't know where our resumes went, Dan.
Oh, I shredded them immediately.
I don't know if you did just say something, and I don't want to work for a boss I can't trust. You said you you love going to all your daughter's events. So like under 8 soccer games, you find joy in this.
I find joy. So I'll tell you the story. You know, my older one a couple of years ago had her like first dance recital. We're talking a 4-year-old's dance recital. So, you know, it's going to be real talent up on the stage. And I'm there, you know, being calm and cool. And sure enough, like I vowed never to be that guy that's going to jump up on his seat and be like, that's my daughter. And that's exactly what I did.
You see the one on the far left. That's mine. That's my girl.
That is 100% my daughter, and I just went nuts. And I'm like, okay, this is unavoidable. But yeah, I mean, there's two sides to it. You know, the soccer game, sure, you're watching the kids run around and all, but I'm a full contact dad. You know, there's no avoiding this.
I was just gonna ask, are you still like being a predator to millennials in your business strategy, or have you moved on to like the Gen Zers?
That's a great question. I think the new hire will be able to go down to Gen Z and replicate a lot of the stuff that I've done and capture that market.
Start a TikTok or something.
Yeah, I don't even know if the TikTok's going to be the thing that does it. But, you know, for me, getting into, you know, more geriatric millennials, like I don't push the advisor for millennial thing as hard as I did in the beginning because, you know, that was new.
They're getting old. Yeah, they're phasing out.
Yeah, we're on geriatric millennials, you know, are tired and chasing kids around and stuff like that. The national kind of attention to the brand and what we were able to do with SEO and all of that good stuff is now paying off with like the pipeline opening up. And don't have to kind of hit that millennial thing. The media will certainly come to me and say, hey, what's going on with your generation? But I feel like we're kind of done here. Like millennials, you know, on their way out, you know, Gen Z on their way in. And that's okay because we kind of took our stab at, you know, this generation and it's been good. So yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting to see that baton change hands here. I hope the new guy, his name's Cliff. Cliff has a great opportunity to really make that his thing.
Is he studying for his licenses right now, or is he?
Yeah, that intro exam. I believe he's taking it on Monday, right? The SEI.
Yeah, the SIE. Yeah.
We didn't have that when I was getting licensed.
That was brand new, like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I went right into my 7 and then a 66, which was the combination of a 65 and a 63. And we're an RIA, so all you need is your 65 here. So he's got to do that intro exam, then 65, and then his CFP. So he's got a few years of edumacation to go.
Yeah, and that's not easy education. That is, I saw those textbooks. I don't even think I've read that many pages inside my education career for as long as that CFP textbook is.
Yeah, you got 6 modules to get through in a comprehensive test. Even that's changed since, you know, I did it. You get to take that comprehensive in one day on a computer. I went down to Pace University 2 days in a row to take a written exam. But I'm excited for them. There's definitely a lot to learn in there.
Yeah. So, I mean, touching on going back to your business. So for anyone that doesn't know, Dougie over here started as a little Dougie inside the business, right? Can you tell that story about how you started?
Yeah, you know, I had a real nice inside track. I was having way too much fun in college, and I think my dad was like, "Oh my God, what's going to happen to this kid? We got to get him some practical skills." And I came home the summer after my freshman year, and there was a Series 7 manual on my bed. He said, "See if you can knock this out." You know, I hate to say like the rest is history. No, it's like 17 years between then and now. But one of the advantages that I had was getting to touch and do a lot of things in wealth management, being a financial advisor. I don't think anyone would really do. So I really leveraged that experience and early start to my advantage to get where I am today. It's crazy. 36 and 18 years. That's like almost half my life.
Yeah. I mean, so the biggest thing is that when my friends send me your tweets, they're like, is he serious when he's like tweeting? Like it's like, but the thing is that if you read your tweets, I mean, you know, you have your jokes, but then you also have your nuggets in there that you know, you're coming off, you know, in a joking way, but you're serious. So
yeah.
Like I knew I'd have to talk about this eventually.
Yeah, it's like, damn it, like.
No, I think lately, it's probably gone more down like the joking and humor road because I've just been so busy and I think the audience is like where's something I can laugh at, and I like putting those jokes. I just like comedy in general. I've always wanted to do like an open mic night stand-up routine.
I do too, but that's so scary. So scary.
Oh, you better have, but you got to do it. I'm that kind of guy that can probably take, crickets in the crowd and learn a thing or two from it. I'm all right with that level of rejection. I say that to you when, in all honesty, I'm probably not.
You're going to be crying.
But yeah, I mean, the jokes kind of work like this. I want, if you're reading them and following along, they're definitely plugging into the current narrative or headlines or stories of the day. I'm trying my best to, on one hand, laugh. On the other hand, have you think maybe a half a thought about what that topic is. Like if you didn't get the joke, maybe you'll go look it up and find out what I'm talking about. And therefore you learn something that day. Maybe I'll give my own opinion through humor. Maybe it's just a joke, man. Maybe it's just a fart joke. Like it doesn't really matter. I used to do a lot better job like throwing in non-jokes, like real financial,
But now it's just Brayson, Xavier, and the Braden talking about Bitcoin
Tristan,
prices.
Braden, Taylor. I created that template a year and a half ago. Everyone loves it. But yeah, I mean the Twitter thing. Yeah, my friend asked me the other day, "Are you going to get burnt out of this?" I feel like I'm built for it. Like I could keep going here.
It's like part of your brand now.
Yeah,
it is your brand.
I was worried at first, is that, am I just going to be a clown saying these things? But prospects, clients, people I meet, they get the shtick. I haven't really had to justify why I'm doing it. And there wasn't
one of my favorite responses was one of your tweets at, I think it was a weekend or a holiday. And you said, Bitcoin's gone down, but my stocks haven't moved, clearly meaning stocks are superior. And people were responding seriously, the market's closed today, you doofus. And then someone would be like, it's clearly a joke. And he's like, in a suit and tie with a blue check mark. And I'm supposed to think this is not for reals.
That's the thing, man. You really get to see what, who and what's out there in kind of a little microcosm here. Look, some of the stuff is baiting. Some of the stuff is to, hopefully have you, not yesterday, man, when people don't, I actually get a little nervous sometimes. I'm really not here to hurt anyone or
I see you deleting tweets sometimes. I do it a lot.
A lot. I mean, I view that like this. If you're a comedian, right, and you're telling jokes and stand up and trying out material, and something bombs or it doesn't go well, you're never going to hear that joke ever again. So, in that light, why have a terrible joke? It's not coming from a mean place. It's let's see if this thing hits, and sometimes they don't.
Yeah, I have my per minute ratio.
Yeah, you can tell how something's gonna do within maybe a couple minutes.
I sent you a banger tweet the other day. You got to post.
You did. Yeah, you gave me a good one. I morphed it and put it out there.
I could totally see you two working off each other on a stand-up comedy. I would go. I mean, I would go.
It'd be funny.
Yeah.
To us, it'd be funny to us.
Yeah, or me and your wife would just be the only ones laughing in the crowd.
My wife would not be laughing at my joke. She'd be booing me.
She'd be like, "Oh no,"
She'd be heckling me. But yeah, it's worked out. It's a nice shtick. It's really grown the audience. I'm my whole goal was to have people laugh and take a break. Finance, it's people get very serious about this. There's not a lot of lightheartedness involved in it. I think with the crypto narratives and meme stunks and everyone's now you tell a joke about Robin Hood and the AMC apes, they come out, they're still mad. They're really, really mad. And, you get this little contingency of people in this corner hamlet of Twitter, of financial Twitter, the AMC group, and they're like, screw Robinhood, and I'm just this is a pure play joke, guys, and they're mad. They're very, very mad, and you could do that to a Bitcoin maximalist. They'll get upset. Don't people hold the stocks they love as religion, and humor and that sometimes don't mix. So I think we could use like a refresh of like some of the stuff we're talking about, like meme stocks are overplayed, like Robinhood's less exciting to tweet about now that it's public versus when it was pre-IPO.
Yeah, because now if you talk shit, it's like some people are holding it, and then you piss them off.
Yeah, you're not going to make everyone happy, and you try and say something that, again, hopefully has a little bit of wit to it, so you get it. But a lot of times there's a lot of people who they're just not here for it. I'm sorry to anyone I've ever offended through a joke. I don't want anyone to lose money. I hope you crush it, but unfortunately, not all of you will make money.
Do you trade? Do you trade at all? Like, do you just wake up some days and you're like,
here?
Yeah, like,
why do these guys want me on their primarily trading podcast?
Was your
I just want your
tweet
hair
about,
products.
Was your weekend tweet about stocks and Bitcoin? You just actually had no idea the market was closed on the weekend.
That tweet was deliberately to say the market was closed on the weekend and crypto is open and it was doing poorly. I mean, these things then just get repeated and beaten to death. But Hugh asked if I trade.
Like a little fun account, on the side.
I pick some things here and there, but I wouldn't even call it trading. More like the opportunity portfolio, where I'll take some real high conviction positions and I'll sit on them. Like they got to be 5-10 year plays. So that's not even trade. That's not even trading. It's not even trading.
So you're not looking for VWAPs and EMAs, huh?
I'm amazed by what you guys do and the systems you need to build and the discipline you need to have to do what you guys do on a day in and day out. Like, I follow you guys. I follow all your friends, all the legends, that you have on here in the trading world. And I'm just like, holy shit. Like,
none of this makes sense.
What are they taught? I can't even read a chart. Like, there's a curved line. There's 8 colored lines. There's a candlestick.
So why would anyone trust you to manage their wealth? I mean, I haven't seen you post a single picture of a Lamborghini, not one Gucci belt. I haven't seen you at any Louis Vuitton stores. I mean, I'm just saying, like, you're known for all the millennials trusting you or whatever, but how'd you get their trust if you haven't posted one Rari?
Because there's many ways to grow your wealth and get to your goals. And I respect how you guys are doing it. And it's tested. You can put down your track record if anyone's doubting what you do. I mean, throw up the P&L if there are haters out there.
Maybe not this month, but
but for me and my clients, it's so the opposite of the environment that you're operating in here. It's about savings rates. It's about increasing income and leveraging skills and opportunities that come their way based in their careers. It's about being disciplined and knowing when to take opportunities, playing long games. And it's not any better or any worse. People can choose how it is they want to grow their wealth. I say the core of what I really do is the financial planning piece, where the investment part is just a subset, just one particular area of what we deal with. No one's gonna, get excited when I start mouthing off about estate planning strategies, tax planning, insurance planning and cash management. Like, no one wants to hear that. But at the end of the day, that's what people are paying me bucks for. Right? They're paying me money to iron all of these details out so they can make great decisions. Maybe it does lead to them taking 10% of their investable net worth and trading and learning a thing or two, making money, losing money, figuring out what they do and don't like. But, needless to say, most of my clients, 1 or 2 kids under the age of 5 running around, they're working 70, 80 hour a week jobs as, white collar professionals, entrepreneurs, grinders, and,
They don't have time to buy Wish.
They don't have time. So, Dan, it's not even that. They don't have time to create a risk adjusted portfolio of ETFs. Like, you need to understand, like, Time to look at a chart, dude. They don't have time to click rebalance. And that's why, and people are like, oh, you can, index yourself. Yeah, you can. I'll be the first person to say you can, invest for free, long-term risk-adjusted investing, Betterment, Wealthfront, Fidelity, Vanguard. You can do it for absolutely free. They don't have the time. They're going to pay, up to 1% a year on their assets to not do it. Not because they're smarter than me. Some of them are, more successful than me. And yet here we are, doing this, lift for them of investing their wealth, the majority of their wealth in very disciplined, non-sexy, vanilla type stuff, because their time is just worth so much money and they don't want to do it themselves.
So do you just love digging into people's finances, or was this more of, you and I have had this conversation, this was more like you were just destined for this because of your father? Do you just love this, or is this just part of the end goal, whatever that may be?
It's a really big question. I don't think anyone in the whole world, when you were growing up, right? You knew the kid who's like, I'm going to be a fireman, a policeman, a teacher. A few kids maybe like lawyer, judge. Who did you know that was like, I'm going to be an investment banker, I'm going to be a financial advisor? Like, it's like, what's wrong with that
I can't
guy?
believe like your dad was just like, hey, let's see if you do this well. And now 18 years later, you're just doing it. Seems like you hit the nail on the head there.
He's still testing them out.
Yeah, still trying to see if this is what I love. No, I do love this, and I got very, very fortunate that it tapped into like a number of skills that I'm particularly good at, and the biggest one just being where I get my energy from, and that's working with people. Like I want to be in a room crowded with people, and just going around. That's what excites me, and then to pair that with the ability to help individuals. Right. So, my dad did have a good way of always phrasing what it is we do for people. It's having the mind of a capitalist and the heart of a social worker. And that's always resonated with me because here, I make my money on helping people achieve their goals. Right. It's not just, the investment piece always comes second to the planning that we do. And when you see your client close on a home and put their kids in it and get that new job because you've helped advise and put them in a position to make great decisions, it's a really massive reward. I'll never forget being invited to a client's house for dinner, barbecue, and them looking me in my eye and saying, my dad their father was over there the other day and said, you should thank your financial advisor for setting this all up for you. And they were like, yeah, we really do appreciate him. And to, my wife is sitting next to me hearing this. It's those moments that, I don't know how many jobs are out there where you can get, that kind of satisfaction and that kind of feedback in almost real time, or see the results of what you do for people. Right. And that's why it's drifted so far away from transactional type stuff like sling. This is born out of the brokerage era. Right. Slinging stocks, hot stock picks, let me sell you some IBM nice and safe. Now let me sell you the penny stock. Right. And now that's gone and you have to focus on relationships that go the distance here. So I stepped in it, guys, like, and then what had really, I think, happened, and I'm going long in the tooth on this one. What had happened is that a challenge had presented itself. I think I got, when you start young, I got to a point where I was like, how am I going to basically do this on my own, right? How am I going to build out this business? And a lot of people saying like, here's how you need to do it. You need to go find baby boomers and people with money. That's the only way. Just follow in the footsteps of everyone behind you. And I just was like, no, that's not the way. There's a different way. I was watching my friends and my wife, then girlfriend, really struggle out of 08 and 09. And I saw that the current model of wealth management was not aligning to what the needs were for my generation. And then it was like, okay, so how do we build a business around that? And that was a challenge. And I'm sitting in business school at the same time and learning things that I could apply into doing this. And it was kind of like, what are you going to do? Take 10 plus years of all this work that you put into becoming this financial advisor, and not challenge yourself to see if you can't build it?
Yeah. Okay. All right. What do you think because this is something that I don't want to say I talk to myself about because that'd be weird, and I'm not weird. Yeah, duh. But okay, what do you think is the biggest financial mistake that any generation, if you feel like boomers make different financial mistakes than millennials, but what do you think is like the biggest financial mistake that most people make?
I think it's jumping into investments without laying the strong foundation that you need to stay invested. Like if you're going to go invest, you should have a strategy. You should know what you're investing for. That can be very difficult when you don't master or get a good grip on the fundamentals, like knowing how money comes in and out of your life, right? So that's cash flow, making sure that you can withstand the volatility or risk that you plan on taking in your portfolio. Nobody, wants to go through a 50, 60% drawdown, which could be part, of their strategy. You might have to deal with that as part of their strategy. Where people blow themselves up, especially inexperienced people, is with their own behavior and their own emotions. That's the biggest threat. And the best way to mitigate that risk of your own behaviors and your own brain backfiring or working against you is knowing that you got stability underneath your feet, or you got dry powder backing you, right? Or that what's happening here with your strategy isn't going to bleed into the things that are critically important in your life. And I think that's very hard, especially for younger people who, have 3 responsibilities in life, don't get fired, don't die, and pay your bills. Like when that's all that you got on the line and you can take more risks, these things just make it that much more difficult. So I think that's the number one thing, right? And if you're really into financial education and literacy, you'll really want to promote, building that foundation. It's going to serve you well throughout your entire life. And sometimes I think what a lot of people have a difficult time, dealing with, and I agree with this, is, the sooner you can get investing, the sooner you can start compounding that growth, right? The sooner you get in, the better off you're going to be over a long period of time. And sometimes building foundations and creating liquidity for yourself and backstops, it takes time to do that. And therein lies the rub, right? Am I really going to sacrifice 3-4 years of compounding returns to build the foundation? And I rather do the foundational piece. That doesn't mean there isn't room to invest at the same time. It's just if you're diving headfirst into the investment piece and leaving behind foundational stuff, you're, I think, reducing the probability that you can stay the course.
I kind of haven't. I totally thought it was buying Starbucks was the biggest financial mistake.
That would be very on brand for me. But you bring up a good point, Dan, because it's not, as much as I joke around about, you can't retire if you buy a cup of coffee. I mean, that's all nonsense. And I hope people really appreciate that. Like, there's no point in, not having fun or living a crappy lifestyle. Or not crappy, but so uncomfortable of a lifestyle that you're really sucking the joy out of your life. Like if cups of coffee is the reason you can't, that's really messed up. It's usually housing expense and transportation are your number 1, number 2. So if you're like first job, balling out, in the fancy apartment, got the fancy car, ahead of the earnings and the building that you've done, Mr. Porsche up here.
Hey, I'm moving in 3 weeks.
And you're moving to Houston too, gonna get that sick pad. But Dan, we can joke about you doing these things, but I'm sure you would very easily be able to show me the pathway you went through to be able to have these nice things and live that level of comfort, right? It's just when you get into those things before putting in the work or not understanding how much delayed gratification can really benefit you early on, that I think, people make mistakes there as well.
But I actually think not to a point where, I'm Gary V or Graham Stephan preaching the fact that if you buy coffee from anywhere that's over 25 cents, you'll get crucified. But I still use fast food coupons. I'm a fast food addict. It's all I eat. And I still Honey, the app, not sponsored, but amazing.
It's an awesome app.
Dude, I whenever COVID first started, they had this thing with any purchase at Burger King. I don't even like Burger King, but I'd be losing money not doing this deal. with any purchase, you get 2 free Happy Meals. So I was getting 2 toys or ice cream, should I prefer that, fries and or apples or onion rings, which their onion rings aren't bad, and 2 cheeseburgers or nuggets, all for $1, which I would just buy 8 nuggets or 4, whatever. I was robbing them.
Dude,
man.
you're feeding the entire high school, man.
But I was just feeding me. That's the thing.
Look, I gotta go with Dan on this. I'm a fast food junkie myself. Like, I've really curbed it just because it was having some. You're younger than me. You can burn it. We're skinny guys. Look at us. We're we can burn. We can burn it off real fast. We got that gift of that fast metabolism. It eventually starts to slow down. I'm just letting you know. Hope not. No. But you can a couple runs will burn it off. This reminds me of a video. There was a TikTok video of someone who was gaming the McDonald's menu. Like, if you just bought, it was arbitrage on the nuggets. Like, they got they got the pricing where, like, if you just comboed up 20 pieces instead of like the 50 or the 10s or something like that. I forget what the math was, but like, you basically can get more nugs for free or more nugs more cheaply by choosing a certain combination of things. Man, like, again, back to that central point about what people do wrong. I mean, and coffee and these small things, if you're in control of where your money goes, if you have a really keen idea on the month to month what your cash flow looks like, nobody should be able to comment on how it is you spend your money. One of the first things I tell any prospect in our consultation is, I will not be the kind of financial advisor that tells you how to spend your money. What I want to know is, what are the goals? When do you want to achieve that goal? How much is it going to cost? And of the goals that you had, which are the most important? Because we have to prioritize where the first and last dollar of available savings is going to go. This isn't hard math. This is just logical thinking things through and organizational type thinking. And once you do these very basic things and write them down and see them before you, all of a sudden you go from, the void of not knowing what the heck you're doing with your finances to having some pretty good organizational pieces around that. And that's, I think, the big difference between people who do very well when it comes to managing their money. I think some of those are the best investors out there because they're able to understand risk and their tolerance for that risk a lot better, and sizing positions a lot better relative to their goals and their net worth and other assets that they have. So if you can kind of get that, that's what financial planning is, right? You get that big picture. You can see your financial life like Neo sees the Matrix.
I do personally, and I do have an issue. Like, okay, I was doing the math with somebody because the parking garage attendant, okay, we talk here and there, okay? And so we had this conversation.
You talks to
and they
every
bring home about
employee
100
everywhere, by the way.
It's called due diligence, Dan.
Yeah. Oh, the maintenance guys downstairs. Guess who opened up a Roth IRA once I moved in? The John from maintenance. Hey, he's great. His son goes to Rutgers. It's great. I hold financial education in the living room on Saturday mornings. But I will say though, because when I start to do the math, I do. Okay, part of where I think we really run into issues is, for instance, this person, $120 a shift. Let's just say their take home was $100, $10 at Starbucks, $30 Uber Eats, keeps the air conditioning on inside the car. Like, I was like, dude, like you're making like $20. Like when you minus all your expenses, your transportation, even if it's only $6, you add all that up and now you're at like $40, $50. What's your rent?
That person's
like things
making
like that.
$12 an hour. I think it's a different
But
story.
my point is that how many people, okay, the average American salary is what, $55,000 a year? I mean, that's not, that's what, $23 an hour? I mean, that's not super far off. So, I mean, even, go ahead. I see you getting ready. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think you have to be careful here, right? And I think in my vast experience here, painting with broad brushes sometimes really, does us a disservice. There's a few things. I don't think you said anything really wrong there, but you're in Hoboken, right?
I am.
All right. So, we're in an expensive part of the country. There's comment here on wage growth and what it is, and inflation and and cost of living on a geographical basis. But if you put that all aside for a second, people are going to be like, well, I can't make more money as a result of the conditions that I have, whether it be their upbringing, their responsibilities, what they had access to, so on and so forth. And I think that's where the danger lies. But I'll validate your point, right? Depending on how much you make, this is where, okay, so if you make less or money is tighter, it makes it only that much more critical to be very cognizant of how it is you're going about spending your money. And again, someone would say like, well, my hands are tied here. I can't go get another job. I can't do these things for very valid reasons. And, you kind of have to stop there and be like, my heart really goes out to that. If that's, certainly the case, is it something that needs to be settled at the voting booth? Is it something you need, on a more societal level to change in order for them to get ahead? There's that road, which we got to be careful going down. And then there's the other road of just, how are you spending your money? Like, did you need to do the Uber Eats? Did you need to, DoorDash 4 nights a week? So this is what I tell my clients, regardless of income. As much as I tell them, I don't care how you spend your money. I care that you're getting towards your goals. What I'm really saying here is like the way, I want you to identify what that lifestyle expense is. Right. I want you to understand, what comfort is to you based on what it is you're able to earn. Are we, first and foremost, are we running a deficit? Are you taking on debt to support your lifestyle? If so, we got to fix that right away, if possible. And then the second is, are you, just spending above and beyond? If you told me your goal was to buy a house in the next 4 years, I'd be like, okay, how much does that house cost? You'd be like $400,000. Can we put 10% down on that? Be aggressive. So 40K, if it's 20% down, 80K. We got to save $40,000 to $80,000 over the next 4 years, right? And you're like, I'm going to do this. And we look at cash flow and we see, all right, like, let's just do that math real quick. 40K over 4 years, 48, we got to save $833 a month repetitive, 33 over and over again. We got to come up with 833. Number one, is that feasible? Like, with what you make, can you literally save $833 after tax to make that happen? That's question number one. And if you can, is there any sacrifices from your lifestyle that needs to be made in order to get there? Let's say you can make that happen. I check in with you 3 months later, you should have somewhere around the neighborhood of $2,400 saved up, right? $2,500 saved up. But you come and say, look, I only got $2,000 here. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to beat you up. What happened? Yeah, it could be something happened with the car. I had to replace something. All right, cool. I'm going to make these changes next month to catch up. Fantastic. Like, that's the kind of thinking I like to see. Or how about this? No, we only have $1,000 when we should have 24. Well, what happened? We went on a vacation. Why'd you go on that vacation? We were burnt out. We needed to recharge. I figured things would go downhill. Fine. Are we going to then change behavior over the next quarter to make up for that? Yes. Okay. Or, you know what? Maybe that was too aggressive of a goal. Instead of buying a home in 4 years, it really needs to be 6. Now you're moving the goalpost, which may be okay. You can't keep moving the goalpost, but maybe in order to adapt to a lifestyle that's more comfortable for you, because that's what you need to do well, you make that change. Fine, that's acceptable too. You can move the goal or you can change the behavior. It's when people say to me, why am I not getting to my goal? Are you going to change your behavior? No. All right, if you're not, are you going to move the goal? Nah. All right, well, we got a problem here, That's on you.
Have you ever dropped a client because of that exact thing? Or at all? Have you ever dropped a client, period?
I have dropped a client, not because of that. Very, very interesting thing to do, very hard thing to do. It really just comes down to personality fit. And it's not like, no one should be yelling at each other. It's, if I recognize it's not going to be a good long-term relationship, and this is very few and far between, I think the first thing you do is say, hey, can I find you someone I think would be an amazing advisor for you? Like, I appreciate our relationship, but I just feel like someone can really do a better job here and you'll like them. They're going to get the hint, and just leave anyways. But no, I haven't dropped anyone for not listening. And nobody really wants to work in no one wants to have a working relationship where they're not taking, they're paying for something, they're not taking. I don't want someone to pay me just to not, and then not take the advice. I I don't know. It's
One
not
time
not for
I
me.
had a probation officer that dropped me and sent me to another probation office. Is that
I
impressive?
believe that.
I mean, I thought.
Could you imagine that conversation? Like you were just like,
And the thing is, I just never.
I would imagine it's not because you were I would like to think it's not because you were doing anything wrong related to probation. I would just like to think it was you. Like he just couldn't take your interactions.
Yeah. It was a woman.
you just
and
ask
she
her a bunch of
didn't-
questions.
No. I decided it'd be my interview, basically. You know. Yeah. No, I hosted that podcast. I'll say that. But no, I mean, I sorry if this is just me being ignorant to what you do. But do you ever like for your job? You know, we're telling people about how to buy houses. Do you ever say like, "Damn, the house market is busting right now. You should sell your house."
Listen, I've told people no. It's not my favorite part of the job. Telling people to sell their house usually doesn't come up. I think there's retirees where I'm like, hey, you know, whatever your retirement plan was, you know, given the real estate market, it doesn't make sense to accelerate it or to sell the home and rent for a little bit before you retire. You know, small portion of the book is the retirees or the parents of my younger clients. But I think one of the things you got to get good at in my role is when a client called me up the other day. They love going to a certain beach town and they really wanted the beach house. And we were looking at everything and I had to say no. I had to say no because
No
the
beach
market was
house.
crazy. And I thought, no beach house for you. And I think, you know, advisors or managers are afraid to necessarily, you know, sometimes at least early on, afraid to say no, you know, and you got to get good at that because you're ultimately, and you explain why, you know, and to Dan's point, you know, do you want to carry this much more of an expense every month? Do you want to buy an asset at the tippy top of the market here? And you walk them through it and you try and show them that this might not be the best move for them. And then sometimes you're just like, no, like, don't do this.
I don't want you to be offensive to anyone, but is there any type of client that is harder? Is just, you're like, damn, this is going to be, whether it be about to retire, you know, maybe an 18-year-old that just doesn't want to live alone.
Could you imagine dealing with FinTwit?
Yeah. They say like, no, I want 2 Lamborghinis by preferably Christmas.
90% of my net worth into a penny stock. Yeah.
Only one time did I have a lady like really put forth asinine goals, like I want to trip. Like the ask was, I want to triple my money over the next 1 to 2 years, and that's, you know, like I get it. It obviously it can be with respect. It can be done. I'm not the guy to help you do that. It's just not, you know, what I do. You got. This is where you guys step into the play here.
I mean, you could also lose it all, Miss Lady.
Tell them close to expiration options.
I mean, it was, I want to triple my money so I can retire in the next 5 years. And it's just like, everything about what I'd recommend would be wildly inappropriate to do that. And I don't have the skill set to even, you know, start in on the risk taking that would need to take place. The probability you'll come out successful here is not very good. And I don't think you want to take on that kind of risk. But the type of clients that typically don't work out well are the ones that check their accounts and are you know, every day and call you up, you know, when there's the most innocuous of movements in the market. Yeah, he was like, yeah, I'd call every day. What's going on here?
Dude, Dougie, me and you'd be having breakfast every morning.
You don't think the
checking over the
Bollinger
numbers.
Band? You don't think the Bollinger Band on this stock is? You don't think we should sell? You seriously waiting so long?
Yeah. Again, the compare and contrast and the way that, you know, we operate respectively. If there's anything I learned when I moved to New York City in 2008 and 2009, working in another practice while the sky was literally falling, you know, this is free fall recession, 50% drawdown on the S&P. I spent a year just fielding phone calls from clients for my senior advisor. And I could hear the fear. It was every day, pick up the phone. And, you know, and there were older clients.
That's That's tough.
Yeah. And it was great training. I mean, you can't replace that kind of learning. But one of the big lessons I pulled away from and why I chose to go after younger clientele was there's no way I could grow a business if I had to be on the phone like that every day. Number two, I felt that if I could train and do financial planning for people early in their lives and train them up, they'll never have to worry like those folks were necessarily worrying. And it's not a mark against the advisor I was working for. This was an unprecedented thing unfolding, in the economy. But I just took away from that, like, no, I don't want to necessarily have to deal with clients like that. And they're wonderful people. But if you're calling me up, twice a week about stuff related to the market rather than stuff related to decisions you need to make in your life, that's probably not going to be a good relationship long term.
Okay. Well, that's a fair answer. I guess I don't want you as my financial advisor because I just don't think our goals are aligned. I'm just thinking bigger, man.
Listen, Dan, bold of you to assume I would even have you as a client.
Whoa.
I would be the one you dropped.
Yeah. Oh, dude, Dougie, me and you, we would have the most complex planning just to do nothing. I mean, it would just be, we would be inside a big circle, just
I'd be like, so Hugh, what do you think of the planning? Did you execute on the recommendations found in the plan? You'd be like, I don't know where the plan even is located.
Yeah, be like, Doug, can you share that with me again?
I'd be calling.
I actually took
you're giving me life advice, so I've been talking to this girl, right, and she's great, but
see, I actually would like that call. I really would. I mean, and you have to understand so much of it. You gotta, I like when you said I'm thinking bigger. That's not wrong, man. Like, the conversation, like when you do the planning and you start putting people's financial lives together so they can think clearly about their money, what eventually happens in these relationships is you get into the career side of things and helping them solve problems there. Because it's a practice of 130 households, all between the ages of like 26 and 42. There's solution sets to problems that keep popping up in clients' lives. You can be like, oh yeah, Mr. and Mrs. Smith or the Johnsons, whoever. They dealt with this very same issue you're dealing with. This is how they solved that, and I apologize to all your viewers are like, what the hell is this guy talking about? These aren't stocks, but look, this is what we're doing for people.
Yeah. So what about the people who you can't really, because I'm assuming that for the most part, you kind of outline, a budget and what exactly is going to be your inflow and outflow. I guess your outflow can be can be better budgeted, but your inflow for people like us, how do you kind of handle that, and how would someone like us handle it?
Yeah, so I call that variability in income, and I see it with professions like yours. I see it with primarily salespeople who have, base salaries that are dwarfed by their commission or incentive income, right? And that makes it hard to plan around, savings and goals when you could have a year that's $200,000 and a year that's $850,000. Right. So typically you break that up into three scenarios. What I like to do is break it up into three scenarios. Show me what do you expect that W-2 or 1099 to look like in a year where you're like, shit, if I do that again, I'm getting fired or I have to quit. Show me this was a good year and show me, a banner year. And then you can map out, on a low, medium, and high basis what that's going to look like. So a lot of this is just expectation setting. Right? And being able to show a few examples of what would happen if your expectations were on a bad year all the way up to an amazing year. You do what you guys are doing long enough, you kind of know what your floor is and you kind of know what your ceiling is if you're being honest with yourself.
Yeah, the ceiling got real fucked up after COVID.
Yeah, I mean, now it's stocks only go up. Everyone thinks, I'll just, compound 100% returns, 1,000% returns every year. Okay, there's something to be said about that. But what about inevitably the years where, and then you guys operate a little differently here because you're going very specific with your picks and how you invest. But what about what if you have a year where you're down $200,000? What is that really going to do for you guys in terms of the goals that you have for yourself? What even are the goals?
That basement's mine.
Come down. We got you. You're not far.
If I have a losing year like that basement's mine, Dougie.
Yeah, dude.
Child care is always needed.
If I have a down year, man, all the promises that people made, hey, come, I'll buy you lunch. I made a list and I'm going down. I've got all those free lunches marked.
Right now the list is Hugh gets a week in the Boneparth basement.
Yeah. I'm soccer coach now and dance recital teacher for a little bit.
Ruby's like, why is that smelly man down in the basement still?
He said that you need to be riskier with your investments, Dad.
Tried to sell me Wish.
All right, Doug. Well, unlike you, we have shit to do. The market's still open for us, so we have loved chatting with you, and I know you only do these to get more Twitter followers, so make sure everyone goes and follows Doug Boneparth on Twitter.
Dan is never having me back. I have a feeling he's never allowing me back on the show again.
Yeah, he actually just texted me like, dude, why, who is this again? Yeah.
I wanted to talk about Grayson, Tristan, and Brandon a little more on Twitter. I want to talk about Twitter jokes, and you're over here talking about how to set financial goals for yourself.
The jokes are only gonna get better. So when you have me back on the show, we'll do a recap of Doug's tweets in review.
Well, I mean, Doug, can we? I know that you're a big CNBC guy, Forbes guy, but I heard that there is one certain media outlet that you got recognized on the most. Which
one's that? Which one could it be? Could it be Penny's Going in Raw podcast?
I'm not sure. That's just like the rumor around like the FinTwit Twitter. But if you have a story,
listen. Do not sleep on PGIR. I came on this thing the first time. I didn't have a clue really who you guys were. I noticed it was really kind of like Hugh that was liking some tweets and replying, and it was you were still anonymous, right? You still had the Aviar. And I had no idea what to think about you, dude. And all of a sudden you were talking about Roth IRAs. Anyways, came on the show. Dude, within a few weeks of doing that first episode, I got a call from my dad who had a service guy over for the house. I don't know what they were fixing. And he's like, Boneparth, that sounds familiar. Oh, yeah, I heard your son on, my dad didn't even know what the podcast was. But
yeah, he's like, what are you doing now, son? You're on Going in what?
He knows I do all of this stuff. I had another guy from high school hit me up on like LinkedIn. He's like, we went to high school. I was your brother's year. I heard you on PGIR. That was 2. Then I had a number of DMs that were like, are you taking on clients? You guys are responsible for bringing me business. So Dan, here's what you get. You're going to get an all-you-can-eat Burger King experience next time you come to town. All right. So $12 gets you 12 items. And Hugh, man. Hugh, you're gonna get some fancy cocktails.
Fancy? Oh, dude, Doug, you don't want to mix off, man. My ranch water is.
It looked good. I felt bad. I felt bad tweeting you on that one because it was a solid drink. It looked great. It looked refreshing, but I felt like I had a flex on you, and we got to get your cocktail game, to the moon, man.
Well, I was drinking Smirnoff like last year in college, so I'm still getting used to like
he just got upgraded from Jungle Juice.
Jungle Juice to Macallan 18 in a year. That's a pretty big increase.
I'm hanging out with people like you now. the big shots, you know.
You got to keep up with the Jones. That's what we're trying to avoid here, guys. Can't thank you enough. This podcast is legit. You know, I've been on a lot of podcasts, and I can tell you that, you know, after doing an episode, usually get some people to reach out. I haven't seen anything quite like that, so it means you're doing something right. You really, really are. I mean, you're reaching people here, which is phenomenal. Hats off. Congrats again.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man. And don't ever drop any of that hair gel into your mixology. That's a bad mix.
I need a cut.
All right, see you, man. Thanks.
See you, bro.